Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It says start, but I don't know why it would ask me to start.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
tonight's regular College Township meeting for Thursday, October 2nd. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, so I would ask those who can stand to stand and join me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, that takes us to public discussion, public open discussion, opportunity for anyone in the room or online to address council on anything that is not already on tonight's agenda. Sue? Are those the only 4 slots online? We see at the top.
Yes.
All right, Sue.
Good evening. Nice to see you all. You're all mixed up, so you're not in the right seats. And you also should have the curtains open because the sunsets lately have been amazing.
Oh.
And it's right out there. So anyway, first thank you from the Lamont Village Association. I'm Sue Smith. I'm the chair of the board. For putting the Lamont Village Green on the official park list for College Township. That was a boost for us. That was nice. And thank you to the township crews for picking up in the spring. We had so much brush it filled an entire truck. So we're having another work day this coming Sunday, and we'll have more again. But they also helped by using a brush hog for alongside the building where we didn't have the right equipment to clean that out, and that was really a big help for when we had the siding done. This next will be from 2 to 4 in the afternoon on Sunday, and we're getting ready for the Christmas market, which is December 5th and 6th in the grain elevator and outdoors. And I wanted to let you know that there's an Eagle Scout who's got a project coming for this fall and finished in the spring for Mountainside Park. And I just wanted to find out for him, it's Declan McGinnis, and he's going to do some more work on Mountainside Park with the pathway, not where the equipment is, but up into the woods, because we think that the sign that's at the beginning of it and the sign that's at the beginning up on Dale Street both need to be replaced, and he also wants to do a nature trail that would be modern technology, that if there's something someone should see or explore, it'll be one of those code things, and you take a picture of it, and it tells you about whatever it is, so it wouldn't be so much sign maintenance. So those are 2 projects that are coming up. But is there money in any kind of budget so I can let him know that he would have to raise money, or if there's money there? Who would know?
Oh, there's always some little bits of money tucked away in the budget
Okay.
for worthwhile efforts.
Because they did help when a scout 2 years ago did the pathway, and it was for paying for the mulch. So I'll tell him that there might be some money
We can
available.
definitely talk.
Yeah, okay. He's going to come to the Parks and Rec meeting this month, so he'll present
That's a good
his...
place to start.
Yeah, that's where he's got to start, so thank you very much.
Sure.
Any questions about the LVA? What's going on?
Questions for Sue?
We're also going to participate in the Day of Caring, so we'll have this work crew this Sunday and then also on Thursday, so we should be able to get a lot of stuff cleaned up. Thanks very much.
Thanks for hosting the soup and song.
Oh, that was fun.
That was really a
I'm
nice
sorry
event.
we couldn't actually, Eileen Glenn's son's wife died, and so we had the whole weekend being with our family, so, but it was fun having such good help cleaning. They were great. They had good experience. They brought
Great site
equipment.
for it.
They were wonderful. So, and they left it beautifully. So, only thing left was bats, but they're always there. So, thanks very much.
Thanks, Sue.
And she ordered up a beautiful night, too. Okay, anybody else? Anything that's not on the agenda? Okay, that will then take us to new agenda items. Any council members looking to request a new agenda item? Sue, Tracy? No? Anybody in the audience?
Mr. Chair, would it be appropriate to announce the exec session on the record?
It not only would be appropriate, it is required.
Yes.
If you notice that we all walked in here a minute or 2 late, it's because we did hold an executive session prior to this meeting to discuss a personnel issue, which is obviously a permitted subject by Pennsylvania sunshine laws. So there, I can check that off. Thank you, Mark. That would,
Madam's chair, I gotta,
that's, you would be proud. Now, that takes us to new agenda items, and I don't think we have any requests. Doesn't look like we have any in the audience. Then that will take us to the second page of our agenda, which is special presentations, of which we have none. It'll take us to plans. Tonight we have two plans. The first is P1, the Center Care Preliminary Final Subdivision Plan. I see a PowerPoint queued up by staff, and I see John in the audience. Who's going to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I just have a brief introduction, and as you noted, someone from Pantera is here for any questions you may have. So this is the Center Care Subdivision Plan. This is located at 250 Persia Road. The tax parcel is 19-2B36A. The zoning designation is R3, and the lot size is 13.483 acres. The proposal is to subdivide that 13.83 acres into two new lots. Lot 2A being 7.421 acres, and Lot B being 6.062 acres. And here's a picture of the lots. As you see here above the screen, the Center Care building exists, and there is a vacant lot that has got 13 acres, and the two lots 2A and 2B that are currently being subdivided. With this request, with this plan, there are a few requests for waivers. One being sidewalks. They're requesting a waiver of sidewalks since the street is currently not being developed on the proposed lot at the time. Access to public streets is also a requirement within the subdivision and land development ordinance. That is also being requested to be waived since there is no public street being developed at this time. I'd like to note too that these are all waiver requests from the subdivision and land development ordinance. The third waiver is a public sanitary sewer connection waiver. Since they're not adding any sewer at this time, they're requesting this. Water service as well, since there's no development proposed, a waiver is being requested. And the same with street trees. Since there is not development proposed, there is a request to waive the street trees. Now, the Planning Commission saw this at their last meeting in September, and we had a discussion about the waivers. The Planning Commission preferred that these be deferrals rather than waivers, so we can note on the plan that these won't always, that we're not just going to waive sidewalks, streets, street trees, and so forth. They can be deferred until such time that those lots are going to be developed. There's also an official map road around this area. This won't be, there's a note on the plan noting that when there is proposed development on these lots, that these roads will then be considered at that time. So the PC recommendation, as I noted, the waiver requests became deferral requests, and they wanted to add a note to the plan stating when development is proposed on lot 2A or 2B, the land development plan must meet all requirements of Chapter 180 subdivision and land development. And of course, the requirement would be to meet all other regulations within our township code. So with that, Pantera is here if you have any further questions, and I will put it back on the last slide so you can see the actual subdivision plan.
Okay. Did either John have anything to offer before we open it up for questions?
Lindsay did a great job presenting. So.
Okay. Susan, questions?
No, I mean, the question I had was about what happens to those requirements, and would they, if the sites were developed, would the developer of those sites be responsible to meet those requirements? But the notes that the PC wants to put on would take care of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
There are a listing of all the deferrals on the plan with the notes that if any development is happening, then that's the time when they will be implemented.
Yeah.
That's my only question.
Gracie?
Not so much as a question, but just I understand the deferral, but I would like we could set a precedent of just making it a part of the development, even if there's not existing, because I like to be proactive instead of reactive, and I feel we are reactive a lot of the time. So I just want that noted.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. There's a reason why these things are required at the subdivision level and not the land development plan level. And it's usually a pretty hard sell to get any of these waivers in, even at subdivision. This is a bit different situation. I think obviously the Planning Commission recognized that. And it seems as if you can make an argument, and for one of those, the same logic applies for all of the deferrals. And I really like what the Planning Commission did with the terminology. And all that second bullet you had up there really just reinforces that, right? Because there is no real language that speaks to the definition of a deferral of the subdivision. Is that correct?
Yeah, just where we have our sidewalk master plan, and our sidewalk section of the ordinance does allow deferrals.
Okay.
So when we suggested that the sidewalks be
But
deferred
not the
rather
other
than
items.
no, so
Not
that's
the
when
other.
they heard the deferral for the sidewalks and wanted the rest deferred.
Yeah. So, just out of curiosity, if we were to run this site through our matrix for sidewalks, I'm assuming it would score, the score would not meet the threshold?
I think it was an 8. It scored an 8, which is
So we did run it through there.
Yeah, we did run it through there. I believe it was an 8.
So as regarding precedent goes, we're not sideways with our sidewalk.
No.
What do we call that?
The
Prioritization matrix.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Lindsay has it.
So if this was a straight-up land development plan instead of a subdivision, a sidewalk waiver would be looked at favorably based on that number, or it wouldn't be?
8?
I believe it's 8. The threshold is 8 or below, or it's 7.
So it's right on the
It
top.
was very low on, but I think it would trigger it. I thought 7 and below was,
I'd have to double check. Yeah, it is on the cusp. You just said that. It's very close. But yeah, that is one of the requirements to consider a waiver, is to have that lower score.
Okay, so regarding the precedent, we're not too far off when it comes to that.
Right.
Okay.
I would agree.
I have a question, Mr. Chair. In the past, it's a good question, Tracy, with the subdivision, have we deferred the requirements for the developments? Okay, thank you, Mark. I saw that.
Yeah, it's common when there's no plan for development, there's dividing the lots.
And then that becomes the responsibility of the developer when they acquire the property and begin the development and submit the final land development. Thank you.
yeah, technically, we wouldn't even need that note. The note adds some oomph to it, but whenever the land development would come in, that would trigger our review anyhow, so.
We're simply pushing them off to the land development stage
Yeah.
from subdivision.
Okay.
Okay, other questions? All right, then we have a lengthy recommendation from Staff and Planning Commission. Would anyone like to take a stab at that in the form of a motion? Looks like we have recommendation from Planning Commission and staff with 11 conditions.
I move to approve the Center Care preliminary final subdivision plan dated August 18th, 2025, last revised September 5th, 2025, subject to the following conditions. 1, within 90 days from the date of the approval by council, all conditions must be satisfied, final signatures must be obtained, and the plan must be recorded with the Center County Recorder of Deeds office. Failure to meet the 90-day recordation time requirement will render the plan null and void. Number 2, pay all outstanding review fees. Number 3, address to the satisfaction of the township engineer any outstanding plan review comments. Number 4, fully comply with College Township Code Section 180-12. Number 5, approve deferral request of requirement for sidewalk development 180-16, Section 1A2. Number 6, approve deferral request of requirement for direct street access 180-19B1, Number 7, approve deferral request of requirement for sanitary sewer access 180-19A1. Number 8, approve deferral request of requirement for water service 18-20A. Number 9, approve deferral request of requirement for street trees 180-23A. Number 10, add a note to the plan stating should either Lot 2A or 2B be proposed for development, the land development plan must meet all requirements of Chapter 180 Subdivision and Land Development Ordinance. And 11, all conditions must be accepted in writing within 7 days from the date of the conditional approval letter from the township engineer.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Any question on the motion? Comment? All right. Because we have potential action, I have to offer anyone here in attendance the opportunity to address council before I take a vote. John, you understand number 11, you understand the 10 conditions, there's nothing unusual there?
Yes.
Okay. All right, all in favor of the motion then, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries, subdivision plan approved. Thank you. We have a second plan, P2, Crew 814, Phase 1, Final Plan, Residential Development Plan. Lindsay, do we have another PowerPoint?
Yes, we do. And let me get it up here.
This is not necessarily an action item. It's more or less a discussion item, gauging the comfort with where we actually ended up with from
Yes.
our original document.
Yes.
An opportunity to ask questions, express any concerns over.
This is the final plan submission of the Crew 814 planned residential development. Back in April is when council, after a long process of review, was able to approve the tentative plan. And things are specific with the MPC with PRDs. So when a tentative plan is approved and a final plan is submitted, the final plan shall not stray from the tentative plan. Also, there was a conditional use attached to this, and all of those conditions we would like to go over to ensure that this final plan is at least meeting now or will meet towards the end towards approval. Also, there is a request to defer the traffic impact study because of a regional effort that's currently going on in the Shiloh Road area. We have folks from Pantera here that will go over those in a little bit more detail. But if you don't mind, first, I would like to go over with council the 18 conditions that were set forth because of that conditional use. And as I go through them, I would like to note that staff went over these, checked the plan, and even though we haven't done a deep dive, and tonight isn't meant to be a deep dive into the plan, we still are aware and checked these 18 conditions. So, Chair, is it okay for me to go through
and
these?
just for the record, that's the 4th page on the paper handout we had tonight.
Yes. Okay.
I think that's a good place to start because it gives us context for the discussion.
Okay, great. So I'll just move forward to this overview.
Or maybe
of the
just
plan.
focusing on anywhere that staff thinks the current plan is not in alignment with the 18.
Absolutely. Okay, so we'll do that. So we'll start then. Number 1, yes, there is a mix of small and large gathering areas. Number 2, the development plan shall include a color-coded map identifying designated open spaces. Yes, there is an attempt, but we did note that there is some hatching that's missing. So we would like them to go through, that will be a plan comment. So that's good to note too, that any of these that aren't fully satisfied at this point will be plan comments going forward for the final plan, staff comments. We felt number 3 was in good shape. We'll be looking for that documentation for previous experience working in a karst region. The elevation drawings were provided to council, actually even back when the tentative plan was being reviewed, and there was a motion made that that elevation drawing will be part of this plan, and that has been. The grading plans, we feel pretty good about those, so there's nothing there missing. The minimum of 12.8 acres. One thing that we do want them to show that the part of phase 2 will meet the open space, because this is a phased plan. So we have phase 1 in front of us now showing a certain amount of open space. Phase 2 will they'll just have to prove that phase 2 is going to sum up the rest of that. Number 7 we were happy with. Number 8, site design, preserve key view sheds. That kind of goes back to the grading, where we mentioned, you want to be higher up here, so you're not down and looking at a building, rather you're up higher looking at the views around you. The developer shall contribute $8,400 towards a study or effort to facilitate a future connection to the Spring Creek Canyon. That's one that we will certainly circle just to make sure that that doesn't go by the wayside, and we'll probably ask them to submit that check here within the next, prior to, of course, the plan being recorded. Water Authority, we are pretty good with 10, 11, and 12 regarding the blasting. Our assistant engineer has been in touch with the folks from Crew 814 to ensure that, these plans are going to get in place. A buffer between Pleasant Point development and the Crew 814. If you can remember, at the end of those little hammerheads they had at the bottom of the screen, they were going to landscape those. The landscape plan shows that those are pretty well landscaped and that screening should be adequate. Number 11, we were okay with. Oh, not 11, I'm sorry. 14, we were okay with. Traffic impacts. Number 15 shall be evaluated at the end of each development phase within 1 year of occupancy. We are evaluating traffic now, hopefully with that scoping.
And that'll just be a plan note then as part of approval of phase 1, that with each subsequent phase there will be a reevaluation.
Right, exactly. And same with number 16 with the cut-through traffic. We'll monitor that. The development plan should include provisions for pedestrian facilities along Shiloh. That is actually shown now, a wide path along Shiloh Road outside of the development. And the walking path, number 18, we circled the walking path around the development shall be constructed of a material accepted to College Township and approved by the College Township engineer. From what we found, we don't feel that the mulch that they're showing is ADA accessible, so we want to just ensure that that is going to be part of the plan.
And that'll just be a comment in our first review, so
exactly.
It's covered.
So we feel that the plan as submitted now is pretty close to checking off all of those conditions that council set forth with the tentative plan. If they haven't been met at this point, they will be met prior to approval. So those are the 18 conditions that I wanted to go over. And I know we have some folks from Pentair here who would like to probably discuss any major changes to the plan, which staff feels that some of the smaller areas that have changed weren't substantive. So we don't feel that if they were substantive, we would have to kind of go back to a public hearing and do so. But Mr. Borger can explain that a little bit better. Also, this is a final plan. This plan comes to council for review and does not go to the Planning Commission. So those are just a few things I wanted to note. Don, Mark, did I miss anything?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
So there's nothing in what we're seeing here tonight that is not in line with the 18 comments, and certainly nothing that, if it isn't exactly in line, can't be brought in line through the land development plan process.
Yes. Yeah.
There's nothing that's going to make that more difficult. is what I'm,
Not that we're seeing.
and we can probably talk about this later, but by deferring the traffic impact study certainly makes sense.
And this is exactly what we just did with the Maxwell plan.
And this, of course, is really not our concern so much as it would be the developer should the PennDOT assisted partnership, the group that we're working with to develop this, should that stall at any point, then we're back to traffic impact study here, right?
Yes. Yep.
So I think it appears to me to be the very right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot of back and forth with the scoping application as well, since there are so many different developments involved along that corridor. There's been some back and forth there, which I believe Doug Hill is even here tonight to talk a little bit more about traffic if you have more detailed questions.
All right, anyone want to step up and offer any thoughts on top of what Lindsay's given us?
Yeah, I think, so Ron Borger with Pantera, I think Lindsay did an awesome job at the background of this. If you remember me, I was here for a while last year and I'm back again. But yeah, I think this plan compared to the tentative plan, I mean, we made some changes, but I think, engineering wise, once we really dove into the hard, engineering, I think the changes that we made actually worked out really well. So if there's anything that you guys have as far as questions as what we changed, I could certainly answer those. But I think what we have presented here actually aligns very well with what was approved back in April. I think it was April. So, yeah.
Rocky, which were the building that was rotated just a bit I was talking to you about? Actually, one of the changes now makes it even more copacetic with the form-based code. The buildings were rotated a little bit, and part of the parking lot sort of was in front, which, we're trying to get parking behind. And when they rotated the building, that covered that up. And I mean, that was one I really liked.
So it was, I think these two buildings, I think originally they were kind of rotated like this.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, so, and then looking at the overall grading concept too, we looked at the earthworks and the grading, especially within the wellhead protection. So we just felt by realigning these, kind of falls in line, in better alignment with the form-based code, and then kind of works better from a grading perspective and less kind of environmental impact and, worried about the rock. The other one that we made, if you can recall on the tentative plan, we had a very high or very large retaining wall over here.
Yes.
We actually, through some pretty creative design work, we actually rotated these buildings here and it's a walkout basement concept. So by doing that, we were actually to eliminate that entire retaining wall. So, which is, I think, a very big, I think before with presenting that, you guys had a little, sorry.
Thanks.
There was some concern on the height of that wall. So by realigning those buildings, changing the grading, and we were able to eliminate that retaining wall. So a couple key design changes that I think really align with the project and really align back to the original tentative plan. So.
Any questions for Ron while he has the floor?
I did have a couple questions. They may be more theoretical, Ron, so I appreciate your help understanding that. I looked at the elevations in the plan, and they're not situated in a way that made sense to me on that plan, and that's because I don't read plans as a matter of course. So just looking at the front, your question about the front and the rear loading. So the front loaded, going in through the front, fronting the street, and the sidewalks that go in the front, that would be somebody coming in from the street, but the parking is somewhere else. I'm not suggesting we move the parking at this point, but that was just something I noticed and wasn't really sure how that all connected back around to the rest of the sidewalks. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you know what buildings
I'm
specifically
looking
you
at
were looking at?
the page 12 on the plan, Exhibit C.
C? Mm-hmm. Okay. It would be page 17 by my document.
Okay.
In the narrative.
Yeah, page 17, it says 12 on the,
Oh,
it's
page 12
17 in the
narrative.
packet. It's 17 in the packet, but 12 on the, no, not to confuse things.
Is that that's the townhome rentals,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So
Rear-loaded townhouse, front, back.
What's that?
Rear-loaded townhouse, front, back.
Yeah, so the rear loads are on the fee simples, if you remember that from the tentative plans, but the rentals were just regular style townhomes. So
Okay.
yeah, so they'd have garages and then, enter from the garage side.
Okay.
That's for the rental, townhomes. The fee simples, they basically, we created that corridor path kind of down through the center, where that sidewalk area is, kind of going down through the center. So that's really technically the frontage of
Okay.
those homes. So, does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
I'm thinking about it from that form-based code perspective, so thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I think the 18 conditions, you're going to look at that in more detail.
Right.
And that really wasn't necessarily the work for tonight. It's
No.
about the traffic impact study.
Well, or just if there was anything that was really out of line with any of these 18, that's
No.
what we would be trying to figure out tonight.
Right.
So, Tracy, any?
No question.
Then I think it's incumbent upon us as partners to keep riding herd on this joint approach to Shiloh Road when it comes to traffic. Because that could become an issue if we somehow that gets stalled out.
Yeah, it's, I know Doug's on the line, so if you have any questions for him regarding the traffic, I mean, he could certainly fill you in more, but yeah, it's a lengthy process. I mean, hopefully we're gonna see some good traction on the scoping application, because once we have the scoping application approved, then we could get the TIS in. So, but we can't submit the TIS until the scoping application is actually approved, so kind of at this little hurdle.
Doug is representing Banner?
So Doug is from Worcester. He's a traffic consultant, actually doing the whole corridor study.
Okay.
And he's doing the transportation study for this development.
He will be doing the TIS for crew, yes.
And this is dependent on PennDOT's traffic study being completed. There's a scoping application in now, is that correct?
So Doug is working on the PennDOT, the whole scoping application for the whole corridor.
Okay.
And then once that is approved by PennDOT, then the shift will be to focus on our TIS for crew.
Understood.
So given that, that effort should be more seamless than ordinarily, right?
You would hope, yeah.
And actually, our traffic engineer is also reviewing it, so they're all working together to get this thing approved.
Yeah, I think, so we have College Township as well as Benner Township involved too, so there's two municipalities, so it's a pretty big undertaking.
Yeah, but it's the right way to approach this.
For the prospective development that's going to occur, yeah.
Okay, unless Doug heard anything or would like to offer any additional comment? Doug Hill?
No, I think I'm good. You guys all summarized everything very well, so I'm good.
All right. Then I'll say this again. It's been a few months since you've been here, right?
I believe so.
Conditional use is tough. It's not easy, particularly from a developer standpoint. So we appreciate you working with us because you know what we're trying to do here. The easy thing to do would just say, no, come back. The harder thing to do was ask you to work with us on this, and you're willing to work with us on this, because we're trying to, get this whole form-based code effort going on. So we appreciate your patience. So far it appears we are on track, right? So credit to both, you folks and our staff, and John and his staff, and Doug, keep working on that Charlotte Road corridor, keep it moving.
Mr. Chair, do we need to make a motion?
I don't know, Lindsay, I don't think so.
No, I think this is mostly just for your information tonight, and just, part of the MPC requirement. Tonight starts the shot clock. So we start tonight, and 45 days, we'll be back here before 45 days, but, yeah.
So nothing regarding the deferral request?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was my question. Do we need to make a motion to accept the deferral request?
On the traffic invites?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Yes, Susan, you're right.
All right, then at this point, the chair will entertain a motion to defer the traffic impact study to such time when it's appropriate to integrate it with the overall, I don't know the proper terminology. We know what we're trying to do.
Yeah, until further review and correspondence from PennDOT.
Okay, it's in there?
Yeah.
Yes.
And do we need to, the completion of the PennDOT study? Is it dependent on the completion of the PennDOT study?
The scoping.
Yeah, the
The scoping
scoping
application.
application.
Okay.
Yeah, the scoping application
Okay.
is dependent on that, yes.
All right, do I have that motion?
Second, so moved,
Do I have
sorry.
a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Comment required before I take a vote? All right, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We keep moving.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time this evening.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes plans. That takes us to reports. There is a manager's report in tonight's packet. Does the acting manager have anything to add, or staff?
No, there was nothing that Adam wanted me to highlight in that report.
Okay. Questions for staff on the manager's report? No? All right. There is also, what was this second item in here? Oh, never mind. That would take us to COG regional, county, and liaison reports. And by my record, there was actually 2 meetings, one of which would have been Parks and Rec Governance, which would have been Dustin, or no, that would have been Rich. He's not here. But did HR meet yesterday?
We did not because there was no contact.
Okay. Well, that concludes at least the COG regional reports, county and liaison reports. Do we have any liaison reports? No? None? Okay. Then let's move to the third item on the report, which is staff, PC, and other committee reports. I know we have Janet online. I know we have Matt here from Planning Commission. Matt, you have a report for us? Or at least a humorous anecdote? Hopefully.
I'm Matt Fenton from the Planning Commission. We didn't meet since we met last time. I do have something that I was reading the Gazette tonight about 6 o'clock, and I came across something that's I realize we all have sort of things we do outside of this, and I didn't get a chance to get to my staff, but I don't really have a staff. So on behalf of the College Township Planning Commission, we'd like to recognize the Madison Award winner for the healthcare professions. As a fellow healthcare professional myself, congratulations, Susan.
So sweet.
Yes. Nice job, man.
That's all I have.
Aww. No joke.
We're going to close his report on that. Thank you. Janet, anything for us?
Just a short statement. When we met in September, we had a short business meeting, after which we recessed to Whitehall Park, which was getting a lot of activity on the soccer fields that night, and an exceptionally large amount of activity on the playground area. So it's well received. People were hanging out there till dusk as required to leave. And you all regionally are to be congratulated. It's a great looking park.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I agree. It's been there already, even before it was officially open. Oops. No, it's gorgeous. I know what I was looking at. If there are any additional committee reports, anything to offer from any of our other committees? No? All right. That would then take us to our diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging report. Mike is not here. There is a written report. Is there somebody here who would like to read that in for the record, or want me to do that?
I can do it.
Okay.
I also have another trivia question.
All right.
Okay, the DEIB report for September, October, September, we'll skip to future ones. October 8th is World Dyslexia Day. October 10th is World Mental Health Day. October 11th is National Coming Out Day. October 13th is Indigenous Peoples Day. October 15th is Global Dignity Day. October 20th is Diwali. Awareness Observation Months.
Are these all for October, you think?
I believe so. We'll be redundant if they're not. Polish American Heritage Month, German American Heritage Month. I think I remember Mike reading these ones. But we'll do it again.
Either for September or October.
Italian American Heritage Month, Filipino American Heritage Month, LGBTQ plus History Month, ADHD Awareness Month, Down Syndrome Awareness Month, Global Diversity Awareness Month, National Disability Employment Awareness Month, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
I know the last 5 are definitely October.
Okay, thank you. And my trivia. My wife and I were down in Bellefonte a couple weekends ago eating at an establishment there, and there was a historical monument along High Street that I thought, this would be a good one for our trivia. It was dedicated to Anna Wagner Kachlein. She was the first woman who was registered architect in Pennsylvania. She's a Bellefonte native. She graduated from Cornell, and she actually designed the Cadillac building in Bellefonte. I don't know if you know where that is, and the Plaza Theater. She was a special agent in Army intelligence in World War I, but when she graduated, back in those days, women didn't get diplomas. Or degrees, excuse me. They didn't get degrees, they got certificates. And her classmates threatened to disrupt the graduation ceremony if she got a certificate rather than a diploma. So she also was one of the first to get a diploma. But she's one of the very famous women in the architecture. She invented a couple brick styles, which were then later turned into the cinder blocks that we use nowadays. She invented that hollow brick format. And I just saw that. And so if you're ever down there, it's opposite of the YMCA. There's a historical marker there dedicated to her achievements.
That's awesome.
Up across from the YMCA.
Yes, on the other side. It's right there at the Plaza Theater. Or not the Plaza Theater. Plaza Theater.
Very cool.
Now Plaza Center.
Plaza Center, right,
Yeah.
Plaza Center now.
Yeah, it was where the theater was.
Yeah.
That was another one of the buildings she did.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
That's it.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I have one last meeting we attended.
Okay.
You attended, and I attended, and Katie attended the Center County Association of Township Officials Fall Convention last night. And we had vendors. We also had speakers from PSATs and some from the county planning. And then the highlight of the evening, we did have Harris Township, Aaronsburg, and College Township, highlight, opportunities to highlight the townships. So we're hoping we can do that next year, but it was
Awesome.
and we also had Amy from Patton Township, Amy Farkas, who was part of our committee.
Actually, the highlight of the meeting was the College Township presentation.
It had to
Thank
be.
you. Thank
No,
you.
but having attended those in the past, having those spotlights was a refreshing change to the meeting. It really kept people engaged 2.5 hours into the meeting.
And LaDawn Young did a presentation on the history of Aaronsburg, and she really set a standard for how to do that in the coming years. She really did a great job, so I think we got some ideas for next year.
Okay, I think that concludes reports. That takes us to consent agenda. Tonight's consent agenda doesn't have any minutes in it. However, it does, under CA2, have 4 pieces of correspondence. The first is an email from Carrie Weissman dated September 15th, 2025, regarding the casino study. CA2B is an email from Peter Bordy dated September 18th, 2025, regarding Cortland Drive safety concerns. CA2C is an email from Dan Materna dated September 24th, 2025, regarding the casino. And CA2D is a letter from Stahl Schaefer dated September 24th, 2025, regarding a time extension for the Clearwater Conservation Center preliminary final land development plan extension to January 11th, 2026. Under CA3, we have one action item, which is CA3A, Project 25-14, Trout Road Swale, quote, award recommendation. Any members like any of these items pulled for further discussion?
Yes, please.
Which one?
I would like to pull CA2A, CA2B, and CA2E.
What was it? The third one was D?
E.
E.
E, okay, I have an older agenda.
Yeah, that was in the supplement.
All right, sorry. I didn't read that then. What is the?
Here, there's a hard copy.
All right. I neglected to include under CA2 our correspondence, CA2E, an email from Karen Soletti dated September 29, 2025, regarding concerns at the summit at Shiloh Village. Okay, thank you. All right, so I have those 3 items. Would anyone like to move to accept the consent agenda? All of the consent agenda minus CA2, A, B, and E.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? No? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, let's move on to CA2A, email from Carrie Weissman dated September 15th, 2025, regarding the casino study.
So, yeah, so I had some questions. Ms. Weissman brought up concerns about the recent, casino, the local impact report. And I'm asking more for in terms of process going forward with the findings of the report. Do we need to make a new agenda item to discuss process for meeting? Perhaps I'm thinking of the climate action and adaptation plan that is at the COG. So people on the planning agency have been working with Penn State departments on doing research and finding stakeholders and setting up different ways to survey the community. So would that be something that we would consider doing now and start that process? Because we did talk about building a dashboard and getting benchmarks in terms of the local impact study. Or is that something we do outside of council? You know, what would be the process for getting that started?
I would suggest maybe we bring that up for a discussion item the next time we get the entire council together. And then
That's what I was going to say.
Sure.
Let Adam weigh in on it.
Yeah.
we're down a few soldiers tonight, so.
Well, and I'm not saying we should do it tonight. I'm just asking for the process, because I think we could take that study and put it on the shelf and wait until spring of 2026 or later. And I know that the work that's been done with the Climate Action and Adaptation Plan is pretty ambitious, and it requires coordinating with different schools at Penn State, maybe healthcare providers in our case. So that I think that would be a council item. So that is CA2, so we'll move that forward. Then my other question on CA2B, Mr. Bordy brings up a concern regarding the curve over on...
Cortland.
Yeah, Cortland.
Yeah, basically, Cortland Drive is not posted, no parking the entire length, and in most places, there's not an issue. He has brought up the fact, I guess there's a box truck that sits right on the curve, and I went out after getting this email and was like, yes, it's tough to see. So I think we might need to evaluate Cortland and see if we would end up maybe making that curve section no parking, one side or the other. But I guess we'd ask council's thoughts on that, whether you want staff to do an evaluation of it and come back with a report.
Well, I think we got kind of a report already tonight, first eyeball report, because I did that when we got this, I did talk to the manager about this. Actually, the borough, I think even the borough police were out there and looking.
Yeah, and they don't like it, yeah. But right now, there's nothing you can do.
It's my understanding, though, that Lieutenant Smith from the traffic unit did contact the vehicle owner, made him aware of the complaints, and this may be solved just by, hey, you're legal to park here, but it does create an issue. I haven't personally gone out and checked, but I think this may be solved just on the pleasant interaction between the police and the...
Well, I went out afterwards a few days later, and that truck was then parked actually in the driveway, and I haven't been out since. But I think we could investigate it and see if it's a continuing problem or whether, as Mark suggests, it was taken care of very amicably.
And I guess my question would be, it's related to the truck in this case, and so the truck was moved, but in the future, if there's a sightline issue or a curve there, should that be addressed? If someone else should move in with a truck?
A car wouldn't cause the kind of issues that you know, this is essentially a U-Haul box truck type of thing.
Saw the picture.
And yeah, that's what causes, it's the size and type of vehicle.
The height.
Yes.
So you're thinking it's more of a one-off?
I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, I had actually had similar discussion with Adam when this first came up. We were kind of waiting to see what would develop here, because we could do exactly what Don said. We could entertain would it be an ordinance?
It'd be a resolution amending our no parking ordinance.
But then that would also prohibit cars or other vehicles who may not be causing us nuisance issues. So
understood.
This is a tough one where there isn't, we got to kind of.
Well, I think we have a record of something happening there, and if it happens again, then it might require a different kind of action.
And what we also have a record of is exactly what Mark said. Staff responding almost immediately, going out, the borough police working with us to approach the owner of the vehicle and doing all of those things ahead of the big hammer, which we often, we ultimately hold. So I think that's worth noting.
Oh, okay.
And, I'm sorry, E.
Okay, last E. So just number 3 on Ms. Saletti's email. She had concerns about the brightness of the light at the hotel site by the villas. And I know that we're addressing issues related to signage now as we're looking at that in terms of the Penn State request. And I'm asking really more to understand, will there be measurements of brightness and light, luminescence? There's different ways to measure light.
We do have light trespass ordinance, and I actually, not too far in the past, I had the privilege of actually using our light meter to test
Okay.
light trespass. I actually left after a council meeting and went and called a homeowner and said, I'm done with I think actually I left the council meeting early that night. So I wasn't too late, and I got to use both our meter and the one from Center Region Code, and found that they both worked the same and read the same. So if there is a light trespass issue, we do have the ability to measure it, and we could enforce.
Okay.
And I would offer, I too then, when I saw that, I would talk to Adam about that, and I think it's worth noting that light trespass is something that's measured in the land development plan process. In other words, full cutoff lights. This is a new enough development that would come under the most recent lighting ordinance that require, there's a max. Of course, this is an engineered drawing showing light trespass, and sometimes now we have to back that up. But what we thought was, even though there's probably the right amount of light trespass, it's not exceeding, that the height difference may be a factor. Because even though you don't have light trespass, horizontally, the distance in the height of the fully cut off lights can give you a perception that the area is being lit up, even though light trespass isn't actually on your property. So maybe that's something that we think about in the future if adjacent properties are on a different plane.
And I know we'll be thinking about that, so I thought it was a good time to ask the questions.
I mean, it all looks good on the engineered plan when it's flat.
Yeah.
But if, the adjacent properties down here.
Right. So it's the same issue we dealt with when we were looking at Burkentine. If we put a 6-story apartment building here, it's going to look a lot different than if we put it up here.
So just
the grade.
A note that, that might be something worth considering the next time we visit that ordinance.
Okay. Is that in chapter 170? The
Signs, yes.
Yeah, okay.
No, lighting
I
is in
didn't
zoning.
see that.
Yeah, lighting
Where
is
is
in
that?
No,
zoning.
it's not, it isn't.
That's why I asked, because I looked in chapter 170 and didn't see anything about brightness, so that was, where is it?
Illumination standards are in 200 in zoning.
In zoning, okay.
And so it sounds like we have a light meter, and it reads the same as the one that code uses?
Yes.
All right, I think that was it, right? If we're good, then with that discussion, the chair will entertain a motion to accept CA2 A, B, and E.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Discussion, comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, consent agenda accepted. And that then takes us to old business, which we have none. That'll immediately take us to new business. Tonight we have 5 new business items. First one is NB1, Summit Park Railroad improvements. Discussion tonight, maybe action. Not
Lindsay, put
necessarily
that
needed.
drawing up. It's discussion, not necessarily action, but you have the memo from Adam concerning this project. When Summit Park is being developed, right now that road is private. What's the name of the road? Summit Industrial Drive is now a private road, and it meets the standards for a private road as far as the railroad crossing go. When it reaches a certain threshold of traffic, or actually number of lots, we will be taking that road over. It'll become a township road. As part of becoming a public road, the requirements for that railroad crossing get much more. And the way it is set up, the developer is responsible for the cost for that. There's a phase 1 cost, and basically what that is turning, you can see the crossing there. It's nothing spectacular, but Lindsay, show the next street. The crossing goes from just having paved over and ties to actually having a concrete tub, is what it's called. It's a tub style crossing. So the track sits on a heavy duty section of concrete. When you drive over it, it's a nice smooth crossing. And as part of that, the developer is going to be responsible for that. And if Adam has the cost here, it's
25,000.
no, that's another
200.
245,000. So the contract or the developer will have to put that in. But then as the development in that project continues, at some point it reaches a threshold for a signal. And that's where you would have on the south side, you'd have an arm that comes down and you'd have a signal there that stops traffic. And then out on College Avenue, you would have sort of the same thing as far as the signal. You'd have no arm coming down. But that is when it gets much more expensive, and that's an additional $446,000. But the way the plan is set up, with each development of the lot, there's like 12 lots back there that are being developed. Each lot's going to generate a certain amount of traffic. So once that threshold is met, the developer will be responsible for that phase 2 improvement. What Adam was looking at is there something that the township could contribute to that? Because that's $700,000 worth of improvements. And what we looked at was, well, maybe we could do the curb and the sidewalk, since the sidewalk would be for the pedestrians to get out onto College Avenue. And that is where he came up with a cost estimate of $25,000. And so what we'd like is to talk about, how does council feel about those? What we also look to do is, can we find some grants, maybe some multimodal grant for that project? That would probably be a really good candidate for that. But so you just get some feel for how council feels about doing, maybe doing some of that work ourselves, the sidewalk and the curb, and the township assisting in obtaining the grants.
Okay, so just for context, normally infrastructure improvements like this fall to the responsibility of the developer.
Yes.
But this is not a traditional infrastructure improvement.
No, this would be the first time we've ever seen that required. Now, if you look in the next couple of weeks, you may see that work actually going on at Struble Road. I think the contractor is to start on that project next week. We have the Struble Road Stormwater Project. We're doing some pipelining there, and they are installing a gate that will come down and a signal up on Struble Road, as well as reconfiguring all the signals down at College Avenue. And I should go back. One of the other requirements of this will be preemption for trains. So at this development, when a train is coming, there will be a preemption device aimed on both sides of the track that would trigger the signals to go red, the arm to come down when that train's coming through. So that's one of the more newer things you'll see at a project like this, and that's a real big improvement. But like I said, the estimated cost for the two phases is about $700,000. We're saying the contractor will do phase 1, and we may assist with the sidewalk, since the sidewalk would be something we'd be requiring.
Could you just say which one is Summit Road?
Summit Industrial Drive, that's the first entrance going into Corning, where the Center Daily Times building was, which is now Stuckey.
Yeah, it's a Stuckey Mitsubishi.
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you.
All right, so it sounds like staff is proposing what appears to be a very reasonable counteroffer to the developer to assist with a less than traditional infrastructure improvement that's likely going to be required.
Yeah.
And it sounds like staff at least is comfortable suggesting that we would take on responsibility for the sidewalk piece of phase 1. And then when it comes to the threshold being tripped that requires the full-blown controller, which is $500,000. Our contribution, at least at this point, would be to assist with grant opportunities, which we're probably in a better position to do at least the managing or the soliciting or the research than maybe the developer.
Yeah, I would think so.
And possibly even be the grantee, depending on the source of the.
Well, we'll be responsible for the signals. Once they're in, they become the townships. The arms that come down, that's railroad, but the actual signals themselves, they'll be ours.
So to be clear, signals are not the traffic signals, they're the red flashing signals? Or, I mean, there's already traffic signals.
There will be, like up at Struble, down on College Avenue, there are traffic signals. I'm not sure exactly what the signal configuration would be on this one, but there would be traffic signals.
Oh, no, there isn't one at Summit right now.
No,
you're right. I'm sorry.
Arms are there.
Yeah, there's masks there.
Right.
Is that where there's?
Oh, no, that's the other one.
They're at the central entrance of Corning.
Oh, okay.
There was never one where somebody.
Well, when Corning was actually in business, there at their entrance to Corning, that actually met the warrants for signals. And once Corning closed, we took the signals down, but we left the poles up, which will help us if we ever need signal poles there again, because they're the much cheaper, was it 7,800s instead of 8,800s?
All right, so the idea tonight is just to get the feel from council on, the comfort level on continuing discussion with the developer.
Yes.
With this level of commitment.
Yes, I mean, nothing has been said to the developer, yes, we're doing this.
Yeah.
But I mean, there were some suggestions, like maybe we could look at this. And I don't know, maybe even with the sidewalk, that would be some of that would be something our guys could do and cut some costs that way. But I think that 25,000 is actually based on contractor installed sidewalk.
And just, can I ask, just to be clear on this note that states about the water line that needs to go in?
Oh, yes. As part of this project, they want to create a loop for an existing water line. And that would be running the water line down Stewart Drive, the portion that is out on Stewart Drive, which is not part of the developer's property. It's beyond the developer's property. And Amy, you help me on this, but the Water Authority has said they will do that portion.
Right, we've already committed, so I think the thought on that is that we are showing that we're working and providing some assistance to get this project. It does benefit us, but it certainly helps them as well, because otherwise they'd have to have blow-offs without the loop. It would be dead-end water, and we don't want that, so.
Correct. And so that wouldn't be in the total of the...
No, that's completely separate.
Separate,
That's
okay, I just wanted to make
yep.
sure. Okay, I thought as such, but I wanted to clarify. Okay, thank you.
Other questions, comments, concerns?
I wasn't clear, is this the first time we would be doing some sort of contribution like this with the developer?
Let me say this first, because this is what I was going to ask. Sort of, but not really, because in the past, we partnered out at Hills with Sheets and Hills to do the traffic signal and right turn lanes with Sheets. We partnered with Hickey's, this is just in my term, we partnered with Hickey's.
That's a good example
Squirrel
there.
Drive and PennDOT and the property owners on the improvement that was needed. Kind of like a mini Shiloh Road kind of thing. So
yeah, we got Hickey to pay for a portion of the signal and the realignment of their entrance so that it lined up with Squirrel. And so that was a big help for them. And we did the portion that was in College Avenue. So sort of.
There was distinct benefit to College Township in both of those cases for that contribution. Here, you know, it's it's not as obvious, but then again, our contribution is proportionately much lower. So it's a,
And it says here that township staff is recommending that an additional $25,000 worth of sidewalk. And so when I read additional, is that in
That's ours.
addition?
No.
Right, that would be the $25,000 contribution, but those sidewalks and those curbs would have to be built anyway.
Yes.
That's not
no,
something that we
no.
would be doing as sort of an upgrade to what would have been
No,
there
they're
otherwise.
part of the project.
I see. And the developers also, Adam made the point, you know, the developer has been concerned about the second phase cost?
Yeah, the 450,000, the
And how many lots are in the 14?
12.
12, okay.
Wait, would you?
Is Stuckey one?
Oh,
Lindsay just
total.
waved
Oh, I thought the new subdivision, I thought was just 9 lots.
Oh, you're right,
Okay,
no, they
9
actually
lots.
did
They cut
eliminate
back.
some, I'm
I
sorry.
remember
yes,
seeing
9
that,
lots.
okay. All right.
and we're not deciding tonight.
No,
And certainly not at all on the second one.
Yeah.
That one is more just a heads up that this is
Yeah.
coming down the pike. Because it will depend on the speed at which the those lots.
and the amount of traffic in the lots. It could turn out that they have several lots of very, somebody's storing equipment or, something that doesn't generate much traffic. Or the first lot that comes in could be Costco.
Right. And then the other piece is, it's hard to know how much each of those lots will sell for when they sell.
Yeah.
So down the road, anything for any sale on that would be hard to estimate in terms of the cost that we would be helping with.
But tonight, we're saying that staff has at least floated the concept to the developer that we could be interested in acting as assisting them
Yeah.
with grants. And that is a reasonable commitment, I think, to make at this point, as we would with any development of that size. Impact. So that's what we're trying to gauge tonight, is anybody have any real heartburn with either of those?
No.
We're not committing to anything, so.
Right.
We're committing to keep talking. No.
Right, we're authorizing the manager to keep having these discussions along these lines.
And that 25,000 would be in the 2026 budget, so that would be something we would think about.
Yes. So that's going to be coming up soon.
Right. So
I
would that be
haven't started mine
something,
yet, but
would that be something coming out of the general fund in the future if we agreed to it? Or we would need to budget that in,
Capital, what did come out of capital improvement?
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, all right, so it doesn't sound like,
This is-
all right, it doesn't sound like there's any discomfort, indigestion with at least.
keep talking?
Yeah.
Yeah, keep talking along those lines.
Okay.
It's not an action item, but if you had a question, Sue, so that they can hear you at CNET.
I'm just curious if someone's interested in more train traffic. Is that part of this? Are there going to be more trains and more businesses using the
I think they're trying
trains?
to catch up with the existing.
Okay.
Am I correct now that the line's being used?
Yeah, because there is some industrial use now with the cement plant, but mainly it's trips to the grain elevator, so,
Yeah, right now it's 1 to 2 trains a week,
yeah. I was just curious, thanks.
but it'd be great if it became more than that.
Yeah, the guy would not have to stop the train, run out ahead, because I see him doing that.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, he blows the horn, but people are consumed with their devices and windows up, that he actually gets, well, I think there's 2 of them. One gets out, comes out to the road, and clears the road, and
Yep.
train comes across.
Wow.
And there used to be long trains
Yeah.
in the old days.
I think it's great that they're using the rail to get the stone from the quarry to center concrete.
That eliminates so much truck traffic on the roads. That is,
Good thing.
yes.
Yes, as someone who was around at the quarry rezoning and the impacts that we evaluated with the expansion, potential expansion of the quarry, yeah. All right, then I would say we're good there.
Okay.
With where staff's at, and then that would conclude NB1 and take us to NB2, COG 2026 budget. This one does require action, but it sounds like Ben is preparing to at least answer questions, if not to offer preliminary comments.
I
Is that where we're
would just
at?
have a few comments
Okay.
to begin with.
I will note that our finance rep, although he's not here, provided detailed comments, guidance for us tonight.
Certainly, I would expect nothing less. Just wanted to hit a couple quick topics on this. First, we are looking at a 4.5% overall increase in the COG budget, which was below the budget recommendation for the year. And based on the updated funding formula for COG, College Township's increase is actually 2.19% for 2026. Part of the increase is driven again by healthcare projections, which currently sit at 13.6%. We hope to get those lower by the time we get our final number, but at the time of the budget, we are sitting at 13.6%, which is not far off from national average at this point. We are also looking at dental vision plan. As everybody heard at the general forum meeting, so I'm not going to go into more detail on that. One of the other big items that we changed this year is starting to move more of the finance costs throughout our agencies. We are taking a really balanced approach, and I discussed this with the managers before taking this step, but there has always been a small finance cost that was split amongst all of the agencies, and nobody could tell me where that number came from when I started going through the budget. It appears it was either a combination of Joe's salary with Becca's salary way back when Becca was on the finance team, or was a number provided by the borough when COG took finances in-house. So there was just this $150,000 that got split up amongst the agencies based on touch points. So we count how many invoices any agency sees, how many deposits they're making, et cetera, and then divide up those finance costs that way. That $150,000 has not been relevant for quite some time. So we're trying to move to something that actually is relevant. So we are using this year 2/3 of the salaries of our finance team to spread out across the agencies. What we would eventually like to do is do the same for the entire admin team. Admin as a whole should not be necessarily a funded agency through municipal shares. We are a part of every agency in COG. That has not been done because the Articles of Agreement explicitly say that admin costs are covered by municipal shares. I'm pretty sure that was written when it was just Jim Steff in admin, and we have a much bigger team at this point, but that is how it was originally developed, and that's what the articles say. So we can't really push too far beyond until that is addressed. The reason we would do this is so that everybody can see the true cost of every service that COG offers. There is a small piece of me in every bit of grass cutting that happens in the parks. There's a small bit of me in every camp that they hold. There's a small bit of me in every traffic study that gets done. But nobody sees those in those agencies. They only see my costs in the admin budget. So we would like to be as transparent as possible about the actual costs of the services that we provide. And so that'll be future discussion. But this year we did start to move finance costs to the agencies. Not all of them, but at least a larger piece than was done in the past. So you will see increases in every agency budget for those finance costs. You're simply not paying those on the admin side as well. The costs did not really change beyond typical salary increases, but you are paying those in a different location. This year is going to mark the first time since I believe it was 2014 that municipal shares will be required for the aquatics operations. Pools have had a great run of being self-sufficient for many years. However, if you've been paying attention to the fund balance over the last several years, you would notice that the amount of fund balance being used every year was growing. We are at the point now when fund balance can no longer cover pool operations. It is an oddity when pools actually are self-sufficient. Those are the rare times. Most pool operations require at least $150,000 in municipal contributions to stay afloat. And we are moving into that territory now. Because the COG spreadsheets for the budget were not set up for municipal shares to be included in aquatics operations, those funds are first seen in parks operations and then transferred out over to the aquatics operations. It would be the same funding formula, so nothing changes. Just a note that we have to put those shares into parks operations first in order to move them to aquatics. On the code side, this will be the first rental permit fee increase in 3 years, and they are proposing a $5 increase on that. We expect a good number of units to come on within the next year, and this will help solidify the existing structure's budget for the future. We will also be working on a fleet management plan, and we'll deliver that to COG before next year's budget process. And finally, I want to mention that SCLO is asking for a small contribution from municipalities of $21,500 to take care of what is an estimated $500,000 roofing project. They expect to get foundation and grant dollars to cover the rest of that project. So a very small contribution for a very large project that will serve us well for many years to come. This budget has a considerable use of fund balance, but it is done in a responsible manner where we are trying to not take our funds down below an irresponsible level wherever possible, and using the capital fund balances appropriately to purchase equipment and upgrade facilities as recommended. I'd be happy to answer whatever questions I might.
Okay, first let me note that our Finance Committee rep provided us all with his comments, general and more specific. So I would ask if we have any questions or comments, are they in addition to, or does anybody disagree with what Rich has provided? Because I suspect what we're going to be doing, when's the due date for comments?
October 16th by 8 a.m.
Okay. We would certainly have time for our Finance Committee rep to get with staff to provide the formal memo comment. So if we could tonight maybe spend that time getting any clarification on anything that he has already put together, I think that would be beneficial, because I think we're going to work from that. Because as you probably already noticed, we put a lot of faith and trust in our Finance Committee rep. You may have noticed that.
I have noticed.
And he does keep us in the loop. So we're actually very proud of that we use the process, the committee process, I think the way it was intended to be done. So let's first just referencing Rich's list here. Does anybody have any questions for Ben on anything that Rich has identified in either the general or the more specific analysis?
I did have a question about his comment on the fire capital, the Penn State contribution.
So we did those calculations with fire chief. We worked through the contract, And we are confident that we have run the formula correctly.
All right, anything else on Rich's list here? I wanted to start with that because I think this is going to be the basis of the comments that we go forward. Did you have any comments, questions, clarifications on this?
No,
Okay.
you did a good job.
Anything that's not on this list that we need clarification on, questions, concerns?
I think these were very specific questions that he also shared with you, correct?
Yeah.
So he shared some with me, and then he also had separate conversations with Kim McMullen.
Okay.
Fortunately, the document he provided is a PDF, so we can't see where he's getting his numbers from.
Okay.
We know that he is generating a number that shows a need of approximately $26,000 more in municipal shares, and we do not believe that that is the case. Kim and I have gone through the spreadsheets from the COG on multiple occasions, gone cell by cell through them to make sure that all of our connections are correct, and we have not found a fault in those.
Okay. We will have an opportunity. The 18th is a Thursday or Friday morning?
Thursday.
The 16th.
No, it's the
16th.
16th. That's our,
16th.
that's our
There
next
is a-
council
That's our
meeting.
next meeting,
Okay.
yeah.
No, it's okay.
So the comments are due that morning.
The Finance Committee meets that morning at 8:30, I believe.
Something like that, yeah. They changed their meeting, correct?
Yes.
All right, while Susan's thinking, just a few comments. While, you know, your comment about pools being self-supporting, if they were self-supporting, we wouldn't see them closing all over the country left and right. I mean, that's
Correct.
the fact that ours have done so well for so long without municipal contributions. We are the exception.
Absolutely.
For certain. And I would say that, I'm just kind of stalling here, but I would say that that applies beyond just pools. You know, the concept that some of these services that we offer, like park and recreation or concessions or whatever, needs to be self-supporting is frankly ridiculous. You know, what is? What services do we offer? If it was self-supporting, it'd be done by the private sector.
To that, I would say that, we found this year during the budget process that there were far fewer questions on Parks and Recreation than there has been in the past. We spent extensive time digging deep to show kind of the cost recovery, where there is cost recovery across parks programming. Camps bring in money. Camps typically do bring in money, but there are still plenty of programs that are all offered at a loss. With the sports leagues, we tried to come close to break even on most of those things, but it was clear that there are costs. You would not see a budget like this without there being costs to provide the recreational opportunities. But once the committee saw that we could drill down and show them exactly what those costs per program were, everybody seemed to be much more satisfied.
Oh, that's refreshing. Do I need to keep talking?
No, I looked at this a lot and went through Rich's comments and the budget, and some of mine are just general questions, and quite honestly, some of the questions I wrote down to ask you tonight, I can't remember why I wanted to ask them. So it's a lot.
I will do my best.
Yeah, so you were talking about the cost of the admin. There's a mention in the budget of the related fund balances for COG admin. Is that what you were referencing before?
Yeah, so.
Okay. It was a general line, and I wanted to know what was that, but that's exactly what you're talking about.
Admin refers to the finance team, HR, Scott and I, the executive team,
Yep.
and facilities.
Yep, thank you. No, and you explained it well before I asked it again, so thank you for that. I did look at the COG formulas on the website. They're listed under the Finance Committee, and I wasn't sure if those were updated. I was trying to put those together.
The formula is included in your summary budget as well.
There was something on the website that I went to before, as I was sort of looking through. I don't have my hard copy, but let's see.
So if you
wanna
go
use
to page
Here.
10 of the summary budget,
So that was this on the website. There's a PDF on the website that includes approved by the general forum in 2009, 2017. It's on the website.
we have a very extensive website.
I know you do.
I don't know when all those things, I would refer to page 10 of your summary budget, which has the
Yes.
funding formula included in it.
Right, and I
This
was,
is- Because that formula gets updated every year
Right.
with the new statistics from each municipality.
and it was a small minor thing, but I would suggest taking that PDF off the website, because I did go to the Finance Committee website to look at the background information to approach the budget. So that was confusing for me. Maybe other people might not dig down as far as I do, but so that I didn't know if I was missing something there. I did have a question about the Emergency Management Contingency Fund. That's been $100,000 year over year, and I think there was some discussion. I didn't see that in here. Again, I'm not rich, so I was trying to understand where that would be, and is there some plan to increase the share over time, to increase the money in the
There will
contingency fund?
be discussions for future years to improve that. So off the top of my head, I believe we're around $116,000, which is in the fund right now, which is the original $100,000 plus interest that has been earned over the years. I did the calculation earlier this year, and that number should be, I believe, $164,000 at this point, based on the original rules that were put around it. It was supposed to grow by CPI on an annual basis, and that has not been done since its inception. However, the Finance Committee is working on overarching fund balance policies, and those have not been adopted yet, so we did not include those in the budget process. Where possible, we are trying to make sure that we comply with what we expect some of these regulations to be, but certainly not to the extent that we would. So, like parks operating was one where I believe what we kept in there is equivalent to 2 weeks of operations, when we should be at a minimum of 30 days for that, if not more. On the capital side, the aquatics capital, we dropped down to $150,000 because that is what we believe would be kind of our most catastrophic emergency in pools. So we used everything but that 150, which required a $9,000 addition in municipal shares to meet this year's projects.
And that was I think my last question about the fund balance policy. And Rich made mention of the GFOA, and looking at that, there is a best practice for that, correct?
There is.
So is that where you're headed? Rich mentioned, sort of.
We are headed in that direction, but we will likely not go the full way. GFOA, I would say, plays things very safe. They're often recommending a 60-day fund balance in there. If you really go through kind of the nuances of those, the fund balance should be tied to your relative security. How well funded of an organization are you? How reliable is the money that you receive? For the majority of COG's budgets, it is very stable income, and therefore we don't need to go to that 60-day route. Most funds, we think, will be closer to the 30-day level. Library is going to be different because it has so many riskier funding sources at the state level. The current state budget impasse is a prime example of that. But for the majority of COG's funds, we have very stable funding, and so we don't have to go to that extreme level. So they're working through They are not approving anything until we have a full collection of policies done, in case later down the road they come up with an idea that they want to retroactively put into those earlier funds that have been approved.
And Rich sort of alluded to that when he discussed it in his email with his memos. So that was very helpful. And there was just one other point I thought I would make. It came up at the CCATO meeting the other night. Someone made mention that, that as of 12:01 on Wednesday morning, the federal government was not functioning and the state budget had not passed. And so the state government was not functioning. And so he mentioned that the county and the local governments were still in business. And I thought of COG, and I was thinking about people who aren't able to go into the national parks right now, but they can go into all our parks right now. So thank you for that.
Certainly, it was our pleasure.
And thank the Finance Committee and everybody else that's made that happen.
Thank you.
As long as Susan brought it up, the idea that you're standing up here and we're discussing the COG budget and we're focusing on how to distribute the finance department's overhead and admin costs appropriately. I mean, we are so far ahead of the discussions that we've had in the past on the COG budget. I mean, we're talking about the minutia here in the context of the budget, which is refreshing. And I would say that a lot of the credit goes to the staff, you, Kimberly, whoever else is involved, the process you put in place. I think the work that the Finance Committee does, I mean, this is a tight-knit Finance Committee group that really has worked together quite well. And I think we are bearing the fruit of that right now. And this has nothing to do with the cost increase. It is what it is. Your healthcare costs are very much in line with what we're anticipating next year, 13 or 14%. So the fact that you're absorbing that 13 or 14% in a budget and keeping the municipal shares at less than 5%, somebody's rolling up their sleeves, keeping their pencils sharp, and I think it's worth noting that in the discussion tonight, because we don't really have anything else to talk about.
I'm getting educated.
I appreciate that, and I mean, as I mentioned at the general forum, we were very appreciative of the help that Mr. Frank has provided to COG over the years. Certainly over the last 5 years or so, he has taken an outsized role in helping the staff through the many transitions that have happened. I had this written down when we were doing the budget meetings, but I think I'm right that we are on the 5th combination of executive director and finance director in the last 6 years. So to come up with a stable budget process can be challenging. I have different priorities than my predecessors. Kim has different priorities than her predecessors, and we work to get those things in alignment, and it is through efforts from Mr. Frank and others that we've been able to carry on, and we hope that now we are at the point where the staff has it, we can put everything together and present it fully and defend our position.
Well, we appreciate it because our residents value the regional services that we invest in and leverage through this regional cooperation. So the better the COG works for us, the better it does for our residents.
And
Go ahead.
the park facilities help people help keep people healthier, which is going to reduce long-term healthcare costs and lower the risk in the risk pool.
I'm in Whitehall Park every week with my dog now. And,
you're bringing down that risk.
Either Saturday or Sunday, we get a good 5 miles in.
That's great. That's great.
Well, I welcome you to visit Oak Hall Park and
I can't walk there.
What's that?
I can't walk there.
Too much grade?
Too far.
I can walk the Whitehall.
You can
so
walk.
we figured out that walking into Whitehall Park, around it, and all the way down to Shingletown Road and back gets us 5 miles door to door.
Okay. So you're crossing through the Greenway to 45 and Yeah. So, and that's also a very pretty walk.
You know, if you walk 150 minutes a week, you'll reduce your risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 50% over 20 years.
We've got that taken care of.
Good.
It's good to know.
It's less expensive than GLPs.
Yes, it is.
All right, well, Ben, we will work offline with our finance committee rep and our manager to formalize those comments and get them to you before the deadline.
We appreciate that very much.
Thanks again for everything.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes NB2, I think. Yeah, that takes us to NB3, Evan Stern easement, Houserville bike path. Do we have a graphic to show, or is it just, we're just working off what's in the memo?
I don't have a graphic, it's just what's in the memo, unless you want an aerial to pull up.
No.
Oh, wait.
There's one in with the, yeah.
There is.
It may not be in the visual.
It's not a visual, okay.
All right.
Yes, I will pull that up for you.
Can you help me find it?
Just while we're waiting, you know, this sidewalk's been a long time coming, and it's actually in our budget and maybe going out for bid yet this year or early?
No, next year.
2026.
Now, what we're trying to do is, you know, next year, they'll be working on the Spring Creek College Avenue Bridge. And as part of that project, they're going to have a crane that's sitting in that intersection, so Houserville Road and Pike Street have to be closed for, I think it's 100 days. So while Houserville Road is closed, there won't be much traffic coming down where we're putting the sidewalk. So we're trying to take advantage of some good low traffic time to do the work. So it's right now, PennDOT is saying that they will be doing this closure after school is out.
Well, we asked them to delay it till after.
Yeah, well, then there's been some changes to their schedule. It may take more than they think. But,
More than 100 days.
yeah, so they're being told it would be better if you lost a week or two at the end of the year with going these detours than if the first football game of the year you have Houserville Road closed. I
All you
guess.
had to do was say first football.
Right.
Yeah, so anyhow, okay, Lindsay got this up. Basically, we've been working on design. Keller Engineers is our designer, and we started discussions with the property owners. Actually, Stearns was the first property owner we talked about the project for, because it is a big chunk of ground on that parcel. On the south side at what's the area called Stearns Meadow. You can see the bike path is on the north side of Houserville Road, and we get up past Ivy Hill, the entrance to Stearns Crossing, and we need to cross to the south side of Houserville Road. There will be a mid-block crossing there, and that's due to site distance and some construction issues. So once we get to the south side, it's about 1,025 feet along the south side that we go till we hit the entrance to Spring Creek Park.
And there's only one property owner involved.
On that particular piece, yes. There's actually going to be 5 or 6 right-of-way takes, but this was a big one we wanted to talk about at first. So we met with Evan Stearns, the son of actually Melinda Stearns is the owner of the Stearns Meadow. And we explained the project to him and the fact that we would be taking nearly an acre of ground, 0.94 acres. And he was very receptive to the idea of getting a bike path put in there. But as far as he said, is there some things we could do other than asking for money for it, which is something we're always willing to work on, is so we don't have to go through appraisals and, and if the things don't go well, you get into condemnation and things like that. But, so what he asked for, that was relative to something we could do is, he would like to see a fence along that path. And the reason, and I think we would have been leaning towards a fence there anyhow. It's not going to be a steep slope off of that path, but in that area, the path will be sitting 4 or 5 feet high relative to the bottom of the meadow. There's a bank there now. We would be flattening that bank out, and as a result of that, we would need to take an easement roughly 40 feet wide over that 1,025 feet. So that,
to get it graded down.
To get a nice grade on it, but we would still want to do a fence along there of some kind, and what he was asking for is a split rail fence, which I think would be attractive in that area, and maybe a couple little signs on it just saying private property, because right now, he said what happens is everyone sees Spring Creek Park, and a lot of people walk through the meadow thinking that's part of Spring Creek Park, and it isn't, and so they would like to see a fence along there, which I think makes perfect sense. And the other thing he asked for is if they give up an acre of ground on that side, and if they would do any development on the other side, could they have a waiver of the sidewalk on the other side? Now, I doubt we would ever put 2 sidewalks in along Hauserville Road. There's for those of you who are familiar, there's that one big long old stone wall that's maybe this far from the edge of the road, which is definitely historical. I mean, it's a very nice wall, and there's some other issues there. So I don't see us ever putting a sidewalk on that side. But what he's asking for would be a waiver that would say if they would, there's a possibility he would do a 2 or 3 lot subdivision up in the north side there in that field you can see. So, right now it's possible we would require a sidewalk, and it's also possible.
It would be what he would ask for a waiver. But it would trip the threshold, wouldn't it?
Well, if they were to do any development, then we would look at we would do an analysis on what is our chart called again?
Prioritization matrix.
The prioritization matrix. But there would be some issues like, would we grant a waiver because it's technically infeasible with the wall there, things like that. I think that is a really good ask, because to take an acre of ground is fairly significant. And he's looking at actually maybe doing 1 or 2 lots on the south side, I should say his mother is. And if you take away 40 feet of the frontage, and then none of this, by the way, is within the floodplain, but once you get on further away from the road, and I didn't bother putting it on here, but you have floodplain issues. So even though there's 5 acres there now, I'm not sure if the developable acres is more than a couple. So that you'd be taking away a significant chunk of the land that you could develop. So what he has asked for is the 2 things. One is the fencing and signage, and the other is the second. No, there's actually 4, but those are the 2 biggies. The other one is the waiver of future sidewalk requirements for the other side, for parcels at 440 Hauserville Road, 444 Hauserville Road, or 440 and 400 Hauserville Road, and 826 Hauserville Road. And like I say, I feel that's a very reasonable ask, given the fact that they'd be losing an acre. He also wants us to look at a traffic study through Hauserville Road there, and we can do that as part of just our general analysis. We get traffic counts there all the time. I told him, I said, I don't think they would. He'd like to see the speed reduced to 25. And I said, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to show it, but we could go through the process and see if maybe, in fact, it would be justified by some of the conditions, but right now, I don't believe that would be the case. And the other is when we put in, as part of the sidewalk project, we're going to be putting a curb between the road and the sidewalk. The theory there being it gives a little bit of protection to people walking down that sidewalk. And he said he'd just like to have a couple curb cuts where they think they would be putting a driveway, which is at no additional cost. It's just when you're putting the curb in, you'd have some depressed curb, you'd have full height curb. So all those issues, those are the 4 issues that he is asking for. I've gone over this with Adam and Mike, and I think we think this is a very reasonable ask, considering the fact that we've taken some easements before where we've paid thousands of dollars for a much smaller piece of land.
So the waiver part is what would require.
That's the real one that you have to think. Do you think that we're shooting ourselves in the foot by granting a waiver on that side?
So thoughts, because the other 3 are things we would really leave to staff discretion.
Yeah, I don't know that you would ever see development along that whole stretch from where it crosses over to get to, well, in fact, you couldn't, because I would like to point out this property is not part of this waiver request. This is a small lot that already has a house on it. It's not going to develop where we could ever say to them, oh, put a sidewalk in. So at most, we could create through our current process a sidewalk through here, and then it would stop. The sidewalk, what's the term they use?
I have no idea. I've never heard it before.
Sidewalk to
Sidewalk to nowhere. We have some of those.
Stricken from our record.
That's why I didn't say it.
Yeah, Lindsay's chicken. But at any rate.
All right, so let's focus on that first, because that would be the potential deal breaker here if there was one.
Yes.
Because honestly, whether Evan asked for a fence or not, it sounds like fence is the right thing to put there, given the fire.
Yeah, the split rail may be a little more expensive than what we would want to put up, but
don't we see? Isn't there split rail along Warner Boulevard? Is that split rail along that?
Kissinger Meadow.
Kissinger Meadow has the,
So that's not unprecedented.
No, and we do repair work on the one in Kissinger Meadow, so.
All right.
And I think aesthetically it'll be nice.
And interesting to hear that their comments that people cut through the meadow to get to the park.
I can see that.
Yeah, makes sense. So anybody have any real heartburn over that aspect?
No.
And the fence? I think it makes sense. One question, the 40-foot wide easement, am I reading that correct?
Yes.
Is that what's needed for a 5-foot sidewalk? If we got to the point where we...
Yes, that's 5 foot.
Okay. Would we need more easement if we decided we wanted to spec it out to 8 feet or?
8 feet gets ugly.
All right, so
5 foot is like right now we're not hitting any environmental wetlands.
So
and if we go out to 8 foot, once you start talking about wetlands, then we just...
That's what 8 foot would take us.
It's close.
And how much more of her property would be included in the easement?
It'd be just another 3 by 1,025, just roughly. It'd actually be a little more than that because of the land sloping off, so maybe another 5 by 1,025.
But do I hear you saying, though, that additional 3 feet, though, gets us into another area?
Well, it gets us into the potential for wetland impacts. And once you get into wetland impacts, then we have to start doing mitigation and wetland replacement.
Is that our guess right now?
It's real close. We did have a wetland delineation done.
Okay, so we're pretty certain that if once we go beyond 5 feet, we're gonna get into a whole nother arena of.
Yes. And what we're tying into is that 5-foot wide section of sidewalk that was put in when we redid the signals there at the.
Yeah, well, I understand, yeah, I mean, it's fine, but we're going to be offering this as an alternative path to campus from, that general area. If we were going through all this trouble and able to get 8 feet, multi-purpose type path. It would seem
The cost goes way up.
Well, it's hard for me to believe that the incremental cost between 5 feet and 8 feet is that significant. But what I think I'm hearing is there's more easement, there's potential wetland mitigation costs, but you're not really talking material. What we're talking about is what we would need to acquire enough space to do it. That's what's driving the cost. Okay, that's what I was asking. Because if it wasn't for that, we ought to at least look at that. If it's just the incremental material cost. In any case, that's fine. That answers my question. Anybody else? Otherwise, it looks like staff would prefer or there is required a motion because it involves a waiver request as part of the easement agreement.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Can I just ask why it stops there? Why doesn't it at least go to Ivy Hill?
It does.
Oh.
No, it crosses the road.
Oh, okay. I thought that's,
Yeah. I don't show it, and then that'll go all the way back to College Avenue.
Oh, okay. I thought that's really weird.
All right. So if everybody's happy with the progress so far in Ms. Stearns' offer, the chair will entertain a motion to grant the waiver of the future sidewalk installation. Grant a waiver for future sidewalk installation requirement as part of the easement agreement. Does anybody want to make that motion?
So moved.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Waiver granted,
Thank you.
assuming the sidewalk project moves forward. That concludes NB3. Takes us to NB4. Potential ordinance revisions, Salvo zoning, discussion, potentially action. Lindsay?
Thank you. So in front of you, you have a memo with a few recommended changes that we have. Every once in a while, we like to take a look at our ordinances and just make sure that, we're keeping up on the current trends and everything that, we need to kind of protect ourselves from. So I'm just going to go through here to request council consider these, and if you are so inclined to then eventually remand them to the Planning Commission for their discussion and recommendation. Currently, our subdivision and land development ordinance requires a traffic impact study, but there's no threshold for the amount of vehicle trips that would trip that threshold. So we are proposing that we include a traffic impact study shall be submitted to the township as part of an application for land development if the use generates 100 new vehicle trips inbound and outbound during the peak hours based on trip generation rates from the ITE trip generation manual. This 100 trips came from Chapter 188, which is the University Plan District. So we figure we'll just keep it consistent with what is currently existing in another chapter in our ordinance. And then this will kind of allow us to, when new developments come in, they now know that it's 100 trips for a TIS. The second one is to add a clause that we could reduce parking requirements if the development is working with CATA to ensure that employees or residents have free access to that subscription bus service. Eric, you're probably familiar with this working in other municipalities.
Yep.
And I think they've seen some success in this. So we were just going to, we took a look at a local municipality that does use it. The reduction was 25%. We do have some current reductions in parking options in our zoning ordinance, so this isn't something that's just, out of the ordinary. That's the second one for consideration. The third is something new that's coming out from the legislator. House Bill 502 is regarding energy generation facility uses. These are recommended that we include them as conditional uses. The House bill could take away local control for the energy generation facilities. And if we add it as a conditional use, that kind of allows us to keep that our local control there prior to a use being requested in the township. And then finally, data centers. We currently allow data centers by right in the commercial zoning district and the industrial zoning district. This change would allow data centers to become permitted uses in those zoning districts. So we talked to our solicitor a little bit about some of these changes, especially the two that are just the newer ones that are kind of getting more popular right now. And he was in agreement, that they could be conditional uses. So those are in front of you for your consideration. If you have any further questions or if you want more detail, I'd be happy to give you some.
Lindsay, before we open it up, just to be clear on the energy generation facility uses, this is something we're trying to stay ahead of state on, because this would be something similar to the Verizon towers and stuff where they said, yes, they were trying to take away local control.
Yeah, and we made wireless communications facilities.
Yes,
we updated our ordinance to include protections there. And we're using it. We're seeing those come in. We've seen a few applications for those. So that's been proven to be a worthwhile change. So we're hoping the same for these.
So we can tell them, hey, we have it as an allowed use under conditional use, so back off.
Yeah, we can tell them that, that in the House bill, it's saying that, public input, those things can sort of be not
superseded.
Yes, superseded. Thank you. And in this case, with conditional uses, that's a big public input process. So we would definitely be protecting ourselves in that way.
There's no guarantee that the House bill couldn't just dictate exactly where they would go, but at least we would be doing something to preempt, to say, hey, we're already accommodating that.
Yeah, and I think getting ahead of the game is probably, is beneficial.
So, questions for Lindsay on any of those?
I think they're all good.
So the action would be then to remand these to Planning Commission, and in the past, we have seen remand letters. Is that the plan again?
Yeah, so with this action tonight, staff would work to prepare a remand letter for council's review. We can bring that back at another meeting, go over that, and then move it forward to the Planning Commission.
So given that there isn't any really urgency with energy generation or data centers, we can just follow our normal process of bringing it back at our next meeting.
Yeah, I think there may be a little sense of urgency, but from what our solicitor said, he wasn't too concerned over moving forward too quickly.
And the urgency is related to the passage of the House bill?
Yeah.
Shortly? Okay.
All right, I know with the cell towers that we were in a bit more of a time crunch.
I appreciate staff and the solicitor getting ahead of this, because this might not have been something that came up until we were faced with it.
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't have options.
Yeah,
So,
thanks.
thank you to you and the solicitor.
I second that.
All right, so I think I'm hearing general support. Do we actually need that in the context of a motion?
I don't.
That would come when we accept, when we see the remand letter, right?
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
Okay. So you're getting 3 thumbs up from council.
Okay, well then I'll be back with a
Consensus.
remand. Draft remand.
All right, that takes us to our last new business item for the night, NB5, which is a new engineering position. Don?
Yes, Mike has prepared a memorandum explaining what it is we're doing. You know, with Shane moving up in his new position, we now are looking at, we'd like to have an engineering technician. We had an intern this summer who worked out really well. But we're looking for someone that would have a little more experience in that, someone that actually has graduated and has a couple years experience. We're looking for somebody who can help with inspection, data collection, just about everything. It's like right now Shane does everything. So we're looking for somebody marking utilities for one calls, things like that. We need somebody who can jump on board. We'd like to get that as soon as possible. But what we're looking for tonight is if you have any questions on the this job description or what we're looking for, or why we're looking for it, Amy, you can weigh in on, I mean, it was really nice this summer. I didn't get to use them much because Jerry really had him busy on all kinds of stuff. I mean, the guy got some good experience that'll look great on a resume.
Out on First Avenue.
And this is Shane's position repurposed. It's in the same pay grade.
To some extent, yes, but Shane wasn't the engineer.
No, only in the sense that this is not a brand-new position that we need to budget for. It's taking the place of the, not necessarily the function, it's a whole new position. Okay, all right. Makes sense.
But to be fair, we were looking at a new position for Shane, so it's a net new position, but nothing beyond what we had at least informally discussed as far as.
Yeah. No, yeah. In that sense, once we've created Shane's new position, this is a budget neutral.
Yes.
It's budget neutral. It's taking what he had before. It's the same pay grade. It's in that same range. So, right. The job functions have changed and the job description has changed, but that position existed before we created Shane's new position. We're not also getting back another GIS tech. We're taking that position he was in before. Yeah, no, and I think this is great. It calls out the fact that this person is actually going to be mentored and brought up, and it's not somebody with a degree, but somebody who might be interested in a degree coming on.
But they will be an engineer, right?
Well, no, they'll have a degree, but they don't have to be an engineer yet.
Right.
Okay.
I think EIT was preferred, but not required, correct?
Right. Okay.
But it's somebody who'll be looking to move up.
I see,
And if you have engineers above you who can teach you what you're doing, then when you go to get your engineer's license, it helps if you've worked underneath an engineer.
I was going to say what I appreciate about it shows growth. And I know that a lot of people carry a lot of hats, so it's exciting to see some of the burden being shifted. So.
Yes, right now Shane is doing the work of 3 people. Right. We're going to try to get it down to 2 people.
And coming from someone who does that, that's a blessing.
Yep.
Yeah. It also shows the willingness to adapt the position to the changes and what's happening more recently, the needs, changing needs. All right, so this is an action item. that staff is asking us to approve the job description and wage range for the new municipal engineering technician position. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Mm-hmm.
Second.
Discussion, nobody here, nobody online. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. New job description and wage range approved. That concludes new business. Takes us to staff informatives. There's nothing in the package officially. Is there anything staff needs to inform us on? Other matters? Anybody have council or staff other matters? No?
No.
Hey, First Avenue looks great.
Thank you. I will take that one.
I got, in the neighborhood, no complaints.
Yeah.
I know there was a lull there. They stayed away.
Well, yeah, there was a few reasons why, and of course, weather didn't help us in the end. And I actually wasn't here for the final paving, I was on vacation, but I did hear it went well and.
The traffic control,
Yes.
I mean, everything. I saw it in the tie-in on Struble was probably one of the more, that was kind of complicated.
It was.
With all the traffic and Maxwell and Valley entrance. But they handled it well. They did it quickly. I did have one question, and that was, did we only replace concrete curbs where there were concrete curbs?
Yes, except there was one area we did from Bush Avenue toward Struble for drainage reasons. We had a lot of washout there, and to put a swale back didn't make a lot of sense. So we
that's
did
why there's
add.
some pieces of concrete curb there. It just kind of what seems random, but it's not random.
Right,
It's where we
it
add.
has to do with.
I can answer that. All right, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, we're adjourned.